DynamoDB is a database service provided by your AWS, and the prominent use of or selling of DynamoDB from AWS is to pitch in their serverless side of technologies. So that's why it is the first database that comes into mind when you are developing features using serverless technologies. So apart from this, it's a NoSQL database service, meaning the tables don't have a specific schema to work with, and you can actually pay only for what you use. This is set up usually when you are setting up a table in DynamoDB. So there are no cold starts or version upgrades required or maintenance or downtimes that you have to worry about. The security controls and the compliances that one has to get, these are already provided when you are using AWS DynamoDB. It has multiple prospects around it. So from the performance perspective, so since it is a NoSQL database that supports the key value and document data models, as in the data that is stored in your DynamoDB tables are in the form of key value pairs, and you can store the larger objects as well, but there's a higher limit to it of what you can store in a particular item. So item is referred to as a data item or what you would call a row in your SQL database. So because it's a database and you could need to be updating multiple tables or multiple items in one go on one API call. So asset transactions are also supported on DynamoDB. You can perform maximum of 100 actions per transaction, and there is active to active replication with global tables. So global tables is another feature in DynamoDB where you would have more availability across your regions. DynamoDB streams help you to actually generate or create event-driven architectures. So this is, you can assume it like if a new item is created in DynamoDB, so a new event would either trigger a Lambda or send out that event in SQS or something. It has indexes to allow your queries to perform faster. It is from indexes, you can reference it to SQL side of indexes, but it is very different in DynamoDB. So here you have two type of indexes. One is global secondary index, other is local secondary indexes. And for the use, if you're not using it, you can scale it to 0, as in because you're paying per use. So if there is no usage, you won't need it. So, and if you're using it, you can scale it as higher as you want. Another reason or the why perspective of using DynamoDB is security and reliability. So with DynamoDB, you can actually have a fine-grained access control over tables. So this can be done using AWS IAM to authenticate and authorize the users whether they can actually get the data from the tables or not. So you can encrypt the data in your DynamoDB. By default, there is AWS owned keys that would be used for your encryption. But if you want to use you can have as a customer managed keys or AWS managed keys. As in with the AWS managed key, the AWS would be managing your keys using the KMS feature. So point in time recovery is another reason. So you can restore a table to any point up to last 35 days. On demand of backup and restore. So this allows you to create a full backups of your tables of any size for archiving. Private network connectivity. If you want to have this database connected via VPC or just available under a particular network, or to be accessible via on-prem data centers. So that's also a possibility. Now, coming to the cost effectiveness reasons. So you can specify the read and write capacity modes. So this is on demand, like how much of your demand is or what you are provisioned with. So with on demand, you can specify your read and write capacity units. With provision, you get a specified write and read capacity units. On demand mode is database instantly accommodates user according to your workloads as they ramp up or ramp down the uh, your service API calls to DynamoDB. So if let's say you have infrequent access, so you can set up standard infrequent access if you are if your data is not very frequently accessed. So this would reduce your cost up to 60%. Auto scaling, if you are using the auto scaling feature, so your throughput and storage would be based on your set capacity, whatever you choose when you are creating your DynamoDB table. So that would be used. Coming to the another set of reasons is integrations with AWS services. Since it is a AWS service, and you from DynamoDB you can connect to multiple services internally with very little configuration or just setting the permissions right for your IAM user or your roles. So also you can import or export your data in your tables from your Amazon S3. And then if you are, let's say, building a streaming application, you want a data to be streamed somewhere. So you can use Kinesis data streams. Also, like we discussed earlier, so if there is a new data that got updated, you can have an event-driven architecture as well. That would help you to trigger some lambdas. And third is the monitoring and diagnosing of your system using CloudWatch.